This program was made possible in part by
Family traditions are never more important than when families gather around the dinner table to celebrate special occasions. Farm families of Mississippi share the bounty of the harvest with families throughout the state and even the nation. Chances are that your gatherings include delicious sweet corn, baked sweet potatoes, and a rich golden pecan pie. Buy Mississippi-grown products. It's good for your family and it's good for Mississippi. The Farm Families of Mississippi.
Mississippi Seafood Marketing, a division of the Department of Marine Resources. From our waters to your table. Fresh, local, healthy. Information available at dmr.ms.gov.
Hi, I'm Chef Rob Stinson, and this is Fit to Eat, a new series about eating healthy and living better. Mississippi is at the bottom of national studies in health and nutrition. Diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, and obesity run rampant in our great state. Well, I'm here to demonstrate how little changes in diet can make a big difference in health. And making those changes doesn't mean you have to sacrifice flavor to get rid of fat. Taking fresh, local ingredients, I'm going to teach you to make meals that are healthy and delicious without spending a fortune. And as always, you can find my recipes with all the nutritional information on our website, mpbonline.org/fit-to-eat. Today, we're going to focus on an unsung hero here in the state of Mississippi, and that is pond-raised catfish. We have the best in the world. And I tell you what, it is absolutely one of my favorite meals. And what we're going to do today is show you an alternative to frying catfish and still keeping great flavor. So I get real excited about catfish because you can prepare it so many different ways. And today we've got about 5 ounces of catfish that are going to be our portion, so it's a light portion, but the way that they're going to be blackened, we're going to do this with some blackened seasoning that has no salt. Most of you out there may not be aware, but when you look and you see a packaged blackened seasoning, it's typically 50 to 60% salt. So obviously, as we move through the series, my biggest focus is going to be trying to shift the way you eat into a healthier style of cooking. So we're going to have a little bit of fun today and do a corn mock chow. And all that is corn off the cob that we're going to sear with some beautiful garlic, peppers, basil, a wonderful side dish. Cook our catfish with that light, very light salt program for blackening, and then top it with a stuffing that's every bit as delicious, that has virtually no cheese, light whole wheat breadcrumbs, and actually focus in on binding it with an egg white. So it sounds like a whole lot going on. It really is. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is kick the heat up over here on this water. And what we want to do right now is take these beautiful corn on the cob, and I'm going to put a few extras in there. We're only going to use 2 of these, but we're going to go ahead and have a little fun and get some extra. I'm sure there's some people around here that might find that enjoyable, mainly the crew. Anyhow, always find it pays to take care of the crew. All right, now we're going to kick the heat up on high, and the key on this is we're not trying to cook the corn all the way through. All I want to do is cook it till it's almost what you would call with pasta al dente, where it's still got a nice chew to it. Then we're going to trim it off the cob and then use that in the pan so we can sear the corn. Gives it a really neat flavor that way. It's a little different. And that's one of the fun parts about doing this. Now, traditionally, what do you do with corn? You soak it with butter, put a lot of salt on it, and eat it. This is definitely a healthier alternative with corn. So let's go ahead and let that sit on the side. And now we're going to actually come back over here and kind of focus in on putting together a healthy blackened seasoning. And I know, for a lot of people, it's hard to think about not going with salt. But I want you to really watch, because this is an easy way to make your own seasoning. And once this is done, it'll last for months. So we're going to start off with the coarser products, which are some ground Italian seasoning, some cracked black pepper, okay? And as we're going to go with this, we're just going to kind of mix them all as we go. Now we're going to add in some onion powder. Please, when you buy it at the store, be careful that what you're buying is not onion ground with salt. Onion powder has no salt. All right, now we've got our onion. We're going to add to it our garlic. And that again is garlic powder, no salt. Going to start getting this mixed together. And anybody who's seen blackened seasoning knows it's always an orange color. Well, all of this is in there, I promise you. The paprika is what's going to give it the color. Now we're going to take and use a little bit of ground sage. And all of the recipes that you're seeing, and especially one this detailed, you can go to mpbonline.org/fit-to-eat, that's me, and have every bit of the detail explained to you, because it's hard to remember the proportions. So far we've put an ounce of each one of those ingredients. This is just a 1/4 ounce of sage. Sage is a stronger herb and you want to use it more sparingly. Then we're going to add in our ground thyme, and a little bit of the pep is some cayenne pepper. And finally we're going to add in our paprika. And what we do at this point is really make sure it's mixed well. Any one of those components in and of itself isn't what you really want. So I love making up my own. I keep this at my house. I use it anytime I want to season items. And I tell you, it's versatile. Not just catfish, not just fish. It works on basically steaks, chicken, almost anything. Portobello mushrooms. It's incredible with portobello mushrooms. And you see now we've got that traditional orange look. And I didn't really mention it again, but when you put that paprika in, it's considerably more paprika in the recipe than some of the other ingredients. So again, and I know I've just said it, but I really want you to remember details like this recipe are available on mpbonline.org/fit-to-eat. So what are we going to do next? We've got our blackened seasoning ready. We're going to move that over to the side, and I'm going to take and put this front burner on because we're going to make up our stuffing. Now, there are many of you out there who do their own stuffing, I'm sure. Let's take a peek over here, and I'm going to turn that heat down on that corn and actually remove that lid. And there we go. It's got a nice little flame to it without it being too much. All right? And I tell you what, easiest way to tell, get your tongs, pull it out, feel a kernel, still very firm, so we want to let it go a little bit more. Now, I'm going to warn you, I've got a pan in back here getting really hot. I can feel the heat all the way up here with my hand. That's going to be the pan that we sear the blackened catfish in. This is one of those dishes where you got to have a little fun with it. You got to be a little bold because it may smoke up the house a little bit. But anybody who's ever blackened anything, you do it traditionally in a heap of oil. We're not going to do it that way so it won't smoke as bad today. But anyhow, our corn look great. I'm just going to turn them in here and let them keep going. So now at this point, we're getting our pan in front hot. And that pan is where we are going to start this delicious vegetable stuffing. Is really more what it is than anything else. There's two parts to cooking it. Let's get that little bit of oil in the pan, and we're talking a ½ teaspoon to start with. So you really focus, and you know, you're going to hear me harp on this throughout the series. Don't use too much oil. There's no reason for it. First item that goes in will be our onions. They're diced. Want to try and get them to a nice, consistent, small dice. Then we're adding in the garlic. And anybody who knows me, garlic, it's my favorite seasoning. I swear. I I really feel for those of you out there who may not be able to eat garlic. Now, we're going to throw into it a little bit of diced celery and diced green bell pepper. We've got a couple other ingredients, but I want to let this go a little bit first. So now we're going to move that around in the pan. Break up, we've got one piece in there, and get all this going. And kind of let it brown nice and slowly. And I tell you why. This is all going to get grilled at a later point. So we are not looking to actually brown all of this food. And doing this stuffing is so unique, you can find that recipe on mpbonline.org/fit to eat. All right, everything's looking good so far. Now we add the punch, little bit of our cayenne pepper, and then a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. It's wonderful to go in there, and we're going to kind of grind it, not too fine. And you notice we haven't used salt, okay? We really don't need it. Now, you take and we're going to put one little dash of water in there, kind of get that going. And we're gonna actually pull it off the heat to add in the rest of our ingredients and mix this so that the temperature is not too much. We want to be able to blend in and get all of those fresh vegetables. We're really just making a small amount of this stuffing for each portion. And that looks great right now. All right, to move this pan forward, leave that one right in the center for now. And add in our green onions. We're going to add in a tablespoon of whole wheat flour. And it's really, really nice to give a shot to trying something a little bit different than using your traditional breadcrumbs that you would. And this is gluten-free. So this is something that someone can eat. And I love the flavor that you get. Now, the trick, what's the binder in this, is an egg white. So we're going to take an egg, separate it out. A lot of protein in that egg white. Eggs are really incredibly healthy for you. And we're going to pop that egg white in and stir it all together with the stuffing. And you're saying, wow, that doesn't look like any stuffing. The last tablespoon, throw in of our whole wheat, and then let this all congeal. And it turns into a beautiful stuffing that's going to actually be grilled on the pan. So you've got a nice kind of crispness that this will bring about. And that's mixed really well. So let's let that sit a minute. We'll stir it up one more time and then get it in our pan when we're ready to cook. But I mentioned to you before, you really want that pan hot where you're going to be doing your blackened catfish. So I've got a pot in the back here, saute pan, getting very hot as we speak. Now, let's take a look, bring a plate out, and see how our corn is doing. Obviously very hot at this point. We're going to take 2 of these to use. Turn that heat off entirely. You can see them steaming really well here. Now the trick, let's take in and cut away from yourself. You don't need these hot corn kernels hitting you. Remember, cut down and then right into the cob. And you pretty much can pull them right off this way. I think this is a great trick to learn too. I discovered this years ago working in New Orleans and had worked with a chef that loved doing a corn mock chow. And it was one of my favorite dishes because you have both that healthy aspect of the corn, but you can get so much more flavor when you saute that corn with some garlic, roasted peppers, and so on. All right, and we're gonna cut it right down. We end up with a beautiful, fresh, crisp corn. Pop all of those off. We're ready with that one. We're gonna do number two, and you can see it's a beautiful plate of corn already, you know? I mean, you really have got quite a bit going on with that. And then we're gonna take that and go back into a pan and give it the real flavor. So just take us a second more here. You know, I wanna mention while I'm doing this, you can visualize and actually get a great handle on all of these recipes by going to mpbonline.org/fit-to-eat. That's me. And you know, yours truly will keep adding to those recipes, but they have all the nutritional breakdowns so you know exactly what you're getting and how healthy the food is. And remember now, this dish is an alternative to frying catfish. I can't even begin to tell you how much healthier this version of catfish is than fried catfish. So make those small steps in your life to make a change and eat a little bit healthier, and you're gonna find if you follow this series, you don't sacrifice flavor, just like I said at the outset, at all. So right now, we've got a beautiful plate of corn, and it's ready actually to go into the saute pan as we speak. So we're gonna take now, and this pan in the left front, I'm gonna warm and get some of our corn and garlic working right now. Garlic, diced red pepper, throw our corn in. Maybe a little bit more, you know, that was 2 nice kernels. Corn's such a rarity right now that I love using it. And that, by the way, came from a beautiful farmer's market right here in Mississippi. So remember, the premise of the show, everything should be homegrown. Everything that we can, that you see on this show, is going to come from Mississippi. We're going to throw in some diced green onion. And then we're actually going to add in some julienne basil. Going to save a little bit of that basil and have a little fun of it at the tail end. And then watch. Now look, a lot of you see me throwing food in a saute pan and you're saying, I can't do that at home. I promise you, if you practice with a piece of toast, I know it sounds corny, but, ooh, no pun intended either, but try it with a piece of toast. You can flip that piece of toast, you can flip what's in your saute pan. All right, now we're going to actually take this, pull it back, because it's basically complete. Throw this pan back on so we don't have to actually add any more oil whatsoever. Make sure that heat is on. And we're going to start grilling our stuffing that's going to go with the catfish. All right, so in that pan, I'm going to make it kind of into a patty when we get it in the pan, and then just kind of leave it there while it's browning on one side. You want to get it a little bit flat. We'll pull that out with a spatula, and it shouldn't be a problem. All that good stuff, you want to try and get as much of it in there as you possibly can. I tell you what, the aroma of this corn is incredible. The colors look so good. And I really do believe when you start eating healthy, you're going to become more conscious of how does the food look, because you really end up kind of enjoying that as a new pastime, making beautiful food that eats so well and it's so healthy. All right, now let's move this to the front. This is my pan that's extremely hot. We're going to put a teaspoon of oil. So this has got a little bit more oil, but not too much. And you see, how do you know the pan is hot? It's going to dance around inside that pan. We come back, and while we're doing this, we've got our beautiful catfish. We've got our pan ready. And all of this, again, this gets confusing. There's a lot going on, huh? All of this you can pick up on the website, mpbonline.org/fit-to-eat. That's me again. And have some fun with this. So, what are we going to do? Let's take a little tiny spoon and shake around our new blackened seasoning that we showed you that's so healthy with no salt. And you're really not looking to dredge it. Sometimes I'll eat blackened product that people make, and it's so overladen with blackened seasoning that it's hard to enjoy it. We're going to check our stuffing here. Oh, perfect. We're going to turn that heat down on low because that stuffing is going to grill. That is perfect, and you can see it's got a beautiful brown when we bring it to the plate. You'll be able to notice it. Now, the fun part, I'm going to head up here, and this one you got to watch closely. Let's take our tongs, and we're going to put the blackened catfish in the pan away from you, all right? You're going to hear me talk about that a lot. There's nothing worse than popping some oil onto you. And I said this one was going to smoke. I wasn't kidding, huh? Can you see me back here? Anyhow, catfish fillets this size will not take long to cook. So the beautiful part about it is they're searing great right now. And I tell you what, we're going to keep an eye on them. The trick when you're searing something in light oil where you don't have enough to really move it around is put it there and don't touch it. Just kind of let it go. And on a small fillet like this, we're talking probably 3 minutes in a pan that hot. No more. You do not want to overcook it. And catfish has got such a great quality, so we're just about ready, and I'm hoping we can actually get a great view, because when these turn, and I tell you, you know, we are going to add just a touch, just a pinch on the bottom. It's what I do at home. I don't want it to be overladen with blackened seasoning. And we are ready now to take that. Oh, it looks incredible. That's incredible. Now that's exactly the look you want. And I mean, it's just got a beautiful crust while at the same time light, not too much. In other words, it doesn't have that heavy flavor or coating of blackened seasoning. Now, we're getting close here, guys. And I tell you what's going to be fun on this one is we're going to finish that catfish, turn the temperature up on everything else that goes on the plate, and now in the meantime, we're going to dress our plate a little bit. I've got a bed of mixed greens. Everybody's like, well, what's up with that? It's a beautiful way to add in a healthy component to your plate, and I'm going to put the hot catfish right on top of it. So what does that do? It's going to wilt that catfish, and it'll actually, it'll wilt the mixed greens by the catfish, and the catfish seasoning kind of gets in with those mixed greens, and it becomes a great addition to the dish. It isn't just there for looks. I love doing that. All right, let's take a look. And we're going to start building this dish carefully here. One fillet at a time. Incredible. I mean, that's perfect. That's exactly the way you want it to look. And then you're going to ask me, well, I thought you said it was stuffed catfish. Why isn't the stuffing in the fish? I've never been a big advocate of putting stuffing inside fish, whether it's flounder, whether it's grouper, whether it's trout. I love to get the crispness on both sides of my stuffing and then layer it on top of the fish. And I tell you what's nice about that, you actually can get each distinct flavor separate if you so desire. Otherwise, you just take a bite of both and you've got them. I think it's a really great way, though, to add texture to a dish. So, you know, you're thinking catfish, fried, crispy. Well, now you've got a crisp crust, no breadcrumbs, no oil, well, virtually no oil, but I'm talking it's not fried. It is such a great alternative. Now, let's come back over here and take that beautiful stuffing that we made, and it's going to sit right on top of the catfish just perfectly. Going to kill the heat on these, because what we're going to come back to is find a nice little bit of our julienne basil as a garnish. And again, remember, I really think it's important, try to make your food look pretty when you have it. Let's toss our corn. Good and hot. You can see the steam coming right off of it. And you know, I want to say one quick thank you to the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, their seafood marketing department. They're actually the one that donated this catfish for the dish. So thank you. Irvin Jackson is over there at the Department of Marine Resource Seafood Marketing Program. And I tell you what, they deserve every kudo in the world. We have the best seafood in the world right here in the state of Mississippi. You know, I live down on the Gulf Coast, and I love having the accessibility to beautiful, fresh, local, everything natural in seafood, just like you're seeing here today. And I'm going to tell you what, as I look at this dish, it's both pleasing to the eye, the flavor of it is incredible, and remember, you can find all my recipes with the nutritional information on our website, mpbonline.org/fit-to-eat. So enjoy it. We will have a great time. I see you next, and I'm Chef Rob Stinson. Thanks for watching Fit to Eat.
This program was made possible in part by
Family traditions are never more important than when families gather around the dinner table to celebrate special occasions. Farm families of Mississippi share the bounty of the harvest with families throughout the state and even the nation. Chances are that your gatherings include delicious sweet corn, baked sweet potatoes, and a rich golden pecan pie. Buy Mississippi-grown products. It's good for your family and it's good for Mississippi. The Farm Families of Mississippi.
Support for Fit to Eat comes from Mississippi Seafood Marketing, a division of the Department of Marine Resources. From our waters to your table, wild-caught Gulf fresh seafood is fresh, local, and healthy. Information at dmr.ms.gov.